everyone, Chef Stu here again, and I'm going to be teaching you today a simple yet completely misunderstood cooking technique, and this is going to be how to make gravies. So many people rely on packaged gravies. There's nothing wrong. We sell some great packaged gravies in our stores, but honestly, making gravy is one of those things that's free. When you make it yourself, it's super flavorful and great, and I shouldn't say free because I am using a few vegetables here, but in a related video, and please watch it, the roast beef video, I started off by roasting some vegetables underneath our meat. The same principle, this exact same principle would apply to a turkey. A turkey actually yields a lot more fat on it throughout the cooking process. So you're actually going to not need nearly as much of the other stuff, and I'll explain that as I'm going along. So what we've got here is our roasted vegetables. These vegetables are very roasted, as you can see. They have a lot of color, and that's not a big problem, especially with a beef gravy. You want that nice, deep, dark brown color. And that's going to help out with here. I wouldn't take any of the super burnt bits. There's a couple of burnt bits on the side here. Don't bother taking those. But essentially what I'm going to do, I have a little small dab of butter on the bottom just to start this process along. And then essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my pan and I'm going to scrape off as much as I possibly can into my pan. So all of the bits, all of the stuff that you would typically, you'd think, hey, let's throw that away. This is gold. It's full of flavor. It's full of the fat from the beef. And we're going to transfer that over to the stove right now and get going. Okay, so over a medium heat, I've got my those vegetables that were on the bottom of the pan. I added, like I said, a little bit of butter to that. And we're going to try and match the fat that was in there with, and we're going to ballpark it. It doesn't need to be exactly perfect, but I had about 2 full tablespoons of fat in there. And I'm going to go 2 tablespoons, plus a little bit because it looks like it, of flour. We're going to stir that in really well. And we want to let that flour cook out a tiny bit. And that's really just to get rid of the kind of grittiness that flour can have in it. We're essentially going to let that just over medium heat for about 1 minute to 2 minutes, stirring constantly. And what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to get a little bit of liquid. Now what I'm going to do, see this pan over here that had all my burnt gristly bits on it? Again, we're not done with this. This still has some love to give. So I'm going to pour this in there. I'm going to soak it a teeny tiny bit. I'm going to scrape off a little, not trying to get all of those burnt bits off the bottom. You can see it's already turned kind of a nice amber color. That's going to be the stock that we're going to throw in here. It's already seasoned. Keep in mind, it's picked up all that salt and pepper that was on the roast beef. And that's going to go in here. It's going to look like a hot mess until we get it through, thickened up. We're going to throw it through a sieve, and we're going to have a nice, beautiful brown beef sauce, or beef gravy. Okay, now we've let that cook down a little bit. We're going to carefully add our beef stock, our makeshift beef stock. And as you can see, it's very dark. I'm not going to add very much to this, but if your color was not where you wanted it to be, see, that's a beautiful dark brown color. That's the color that we want for a beef gravy. If you didn't achieve that beautiful dark brown color because you didn't roast the vegetables quite enough, I'll tell you a little trick, which is Lea & Perrins or Worcester sauce. Adds a nice saltiness and it adds a nice color to it. So a lot of people will use that. And then other people just like to flavor that anyway and we'll add that in. So there's a whole bunch of different ways from this point. You can flavor your gravies. You can add, grainy mustard. You can use a whole bunch of different things that are going to help you out with that. So that's it. Okay, so we've been simmering this away. It's thickened up absolutely beautifully. That's what we're looking for. We want it, if anything, a tiny bit thin from where we think it'll be because it's going to thicken up as it cools. So what I would do is just have a strainer handy right beside. I'm going into a regular cereal bowl, but you could go into a larger bowl if you obviously had more. And this is obviously a crucial stage because we don't want those bits of burnt onion and all of that stuff in there. But you can see, I mean, we've essentially taken a bunch of stuff that sat on the bottom of a pan and we've made an absolutely beautiful gravy for ourselves. And I would now, at this point, if you're going to season it now. I've tasted this. This does not need any seasoning, but by all means, you can add some black pepper to this, some salt if it's not salty enough. But like I said, if you seasoned your roast properly in the beginning, there should be enough salt on the bottom of that pan that you don't need it. And there, some beautiful homemade beef gravy.